Less than 1 hour's drive from the city of San Jose and the hustle and bustle of Silicon Valley, you'll discover a vast wilderness preserve in the Diablo Mountains. More than 40,000 people come to this picturesque wonderland every year. Here they find rolling hills and heavenly valleys where they can escape to paradise. Henry W. Coe State Park contains more than 89,000 acres where visitors can hike scenic trails, climb challenging mountain ridges, wander along riparian creeks, explore grassy meadows, and meditate by tranquil lakes. The second largest state park in California, Henry Coe is inhabited by a number of wild animals that make their home amid a variety of species of plant life. In this little-known San Francisco Bay Area park, visitors can enjoy a number of fun activities and family-friendly events throughout the year. The terrain that became Henry Coe State Park was formed 200 million years ago underwater in what is now the Pacific Ocean. Over time, the land slowly rose from the ocean due to the collision of tectonic plates caused by seafloor spreading. Seafloor spreading is the process of the continuous motion of the seafloor pushing outwards from rifts towards land. This slow collision between plates folded and pushed up our coastal mountains and the lands of Coe Park. About 10,000 years ago, the first Native Americans arrived at the Diablo Range and made their home here. They were nomads, following their various food sources. They hunted deer, fished in the streams, and gathered acorns and berries. Later, the Ohlone Indian tribe moved into the area and interacted with other tribal villages throughout the region. In 1769, Spanish explorer Juan Bautista de Anza brought Spanish colonists to the region. Spanish Franciscans also came during this period and brought the Ohlone Indians to various missions to convert them to Catholicism. For many decades following the Spanish arrival, the land that would one day be Henry Coe State Park was a wilderness without long-term human inhabitants. In 1849, the gold rush brought new settlers from the United States to California and the Diablo Range. They explored the land for minerals such as gold, copper, silver, and mercury. In the Civil War, mining operations here expanded to help support the war machines in the East. In 1860, Congress passed the Homestead Act. This was the first time American families started to officially settle this rugged land. Before the law was passed, a few squatters lived on the land, but they had no official claim to it. A few large families came to dominate the area by making multiple claims. One claim was not enough to sustain a family. A pioneer named Henry Willard Coe Sr. came to California among the gold-crazed settlers in 1849. A businessman who was down on his luck, Coe bought a large parcel east of San Jose that became the San Felipe Ranch, where he hoped to support his family. He introduced his sons, Henry Jr. and Charles, to the cowboy lifestyle, and they loved it. When the boys grew up, they inherited their father's business and enjoyed great success expanding their empire. Between 1889 and 1904, Henry Jr., better known as Harry, and his brother Charles filed 10 homestead claims and bought land from numerous homesteaders. This allowed their ranch to grow to the south and east. Among their holdings was the Pine Ridge Ranch, located a dozen miles east of the agricultural village of Morgan Hill. The Pine Ridge Ranch would one day serve as the seed for Henry Coe State Park. In 1907, Charles and Henry decided to part ways. Charles wanted to go into the real estate business, but Harry kept on ranching. Harry had 2 children, a girl named Seda and a boy named Henry Sutcliffe. Seda fell in love with ranch life. She was a horsewoman at home in the saddle as she rode the range. During her eulogy in 1979, one person said, "Most of the old cowboys said she could ride a horse almost as well as the men. A few, probably the more honest ones, said she could outdo any of the men." Seda Sutcliffe Coe married Charles Robinson, a cowboy, in 1932. 11 years later, her father died. In his will, he gave both San Felipe and Pine Ridge to Henry Sutcliffe, his son. After a few years, Henry decided to sell the 12,230-acre Pine Ridge Ranch to a Fresno-based businessman named O.S. Beach. Seda was saddened by what happened. She became determined to regain rights to her family's property. In 1949, she did just that by buying the ranch for herself. Now divorced from Charles, Seda was challenged by performing hard labor all on her own. She lived alone at Pine Ridge Ranch, managing a few head of cattle. She realized that this work was too difficult for anyone to keep up for a long period of time, but she wanted to make sure the land wasn't developed and stayed a pristine wilderness. She decided that her best course of action would be to donate the land to the County of Santa Clara as a public park. On August 15, 1953, she donated the ranch to the county on the stipulation that 3 conditions be met. She asked for a memorial to be erected to honor her dead father as the namesake of the park. She insisted that the property be used as a natural resource for the people of California to enjoy. She also requested that all income derived from Henry Willard Coe County Park would be used to further develop it as a recreational area. The County of Santa Clara agreed to these 3 requirements. Henry Coe County Park was created. Santa Clara County had difficulty maintaining the park. In 1958, the County Board of Supervisors voted to sell the land to the state of California. The state paid $10 for the property. Over the next 5 decades, now a part of the California State Park System, Henry Coe grew immensely. The first expansion didn't occur until 1980, when state laws were passed to fund the growth of the park. The Thomas and Coit ranches were purchased during this time, adding nearly 20,000 acres to the original park boundaries and more than doubling Henry Coe's size. The largest single addition occurred in 1981 with the purchase of a section of the massive Gill Mustang Ranch, totaling nearly 35,000 acres. Other additions such as Redfern Ranch, Hunting Hollow Valley, and Lakeview Meadows added 2 new entrances to the park and brought the total area up to the 89,000 acres it is today. This acreage compares to 6 times the size of the island nation of Bermuda. Henry Coe State Park grew to become larger than the whole of Santa Clara Valley. In 2002, the site of the historic Gilroy Hot Springs Resort joined the park. The original resort was founded in 1866 by George Roop. The hot mineral waters were known throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. The resort had a relaxing atmosphere and a place of healing. A large hotel was built on the site to accommodate up to 500 wealthy guests to dine, dance, gamble, hike, and relax. Some of the most influential business and civic leaders visited the hot springs during its heyday. Cabins lodged families from San Francisco who stayed the whole summer. In 1938, a Japanese-American businessman named Sakata renewed life to the aging resort after he purchased the property. He transformed it into a place where Japanese Americans could flee social discrimination and racial prejudice. Following World War II, Sakata offered the hot springs as a temporary home for displaced Japanese internees from the relocation camps. Today, the hot springs site at Henry Coe is deteriorating. Many buildings have been condemned as unsafe. The hotel burned down by arson in 1980. Many other structures are simply falling apart from vandalism and natural decay. An organization called the Friends of the Gilroy Hot Springs is now trying to redevelop the site and make it once again safe for public access. On May 19, 2007, Henry Coe State Park dedicated the Dowdy Ranch Visitor Site, which opens up the Oristimba Wilderness for easier access. This site is accessed from Pacheco Pass at the Bells Station entrance to the park. No doubt Sadako would be pleased to see that the idea for a public recreational area named after her rancher father would grow into Northern California's largest state park. Coe Park includes a wide variety of habitats and therefore supports a wide variety of plants and animals. The wildlife in the park includes many mammals, insects, reptiles, amphibians, and over 170 species of birds. The animals are protected by anti-hunting laws, and it is illegal to take plants from the park. The wildlife in the park varies greatly depending on different terrains and the changing of the seasons. People who come to the park are encouraged to stop at the visitor center and pick up a brochure describing what flora and fauna can be found in Henry Cove. Unlike many other Bay Area parks, Henry Cove contains very few non-native species of plants, leaving it very similar to how it originally was before the Europeans. Trees grow all over the park. Along west side ridges, visitors wander through unusual stands of ponderosa pines. The most abundant tree species in the park is the blue oak. These magnificent trees are more dominant in the drier eastern section of the park, where fewer other species impede their growth. Bay laurels can be found all over the park. These trees are characterized by the powerful aroma of their spearhead-shaped leaves. Much of the park is chaparral, a dry, rocky terrain. Here, visitors can find coyote brush, as well as chamise, the most common shrub in the park. Wild sagebrush grows along the trails and provides hikers with a pleasant fragrance as they pass through the brush. One of the few non-native species of plants in the park is the long-stemmed grass, which covers much of the rolling hills. As ranchers brought cattle to the hills, the cows ate much of the native grasses, allowing the non-native grass to flourish. In spring, if there is a soaking season of rain, dozens of species of flowers can be found blooming. This makes the park appear Eden-like. The flowers attract visitors as well as bees and butterflies. The visitors wander meadows and hills splashed with the colors of California golden poppies, buttercups, blue arroyo lupine, purple owl's clover, purple nightshade, royal larkspur, sticky monkey flower, and the exotic Chinese house, among many other species. Wildfire can have a very beneficial effect on the flowers and other plant life in the park. The flames clear out old foliage to allow for the growth of new vegetation. This was seen after the Lick Fire that started on September 3, 2007, unintentionally by someone burning trash. The Lick Fire spread across 48,000 acres, burning over half of the park. But the following spring brought new life with the blooming of many more flowers, grasses, and other small plants than usual. The park is home to many species of animals. Sharp-eyed visitors can spot squirrels, deer, coyotes, bobcats, raccoons, wild turkey, scrub jays, hawks, bees, and turkey vultures, to name a few of the inhabitants who dwell here. Sometimes visitors express the fears about running into mountain lions in the park. There has never been any incident of these magnificent animals attacking anybody in Henry Cove. There are so few mountain lions in the park that it is very unlikely that any given visitor will even see one. Along creeks and in lakes and ponds, fish such as bass and trout make their aquatic homes. They can be seen swimming under the surface of the water. Also commonly seen are amphibians such as frogs and banana slugs. Reptiles in the park include turtles and a wide variety of snakes. Insects include colorful butterflies, beetles, bees, wasps, and ticks. Many more plants and animals can be discovered in the park.